What's good YouTube, and welcome to the house. I was up till like 4:30 a.m. reading the most true scary stories that have happened to people or that others have heard, and even more frightening than that, I haven't uploaded a market watch in 4 days, so you can only imagine the amount of changes that have been happening, card prices going up and down, and I have several general conversations to get through. People typically like when I go into market theory, but I have quite a few of those conversations, so I'm going to try to get this in a timely manner, but this market watch is going to run longer than usual. That being said, the first card here, Dimension Shifter, is going up, and I remember when you could get these at 20 and 30 cents, and even though I didn't like the card, I still suggested you have at least a playset in your back pocket in case it went up in price or it had its formats, and right now seems to be the format against Virtual World. While they do like some of their resources being banished, such as to use the trap card to get pops and recycle their resources, they generally want things to go into the graveyard so that they can banish themselves for resources or go to the graveyard and get recurrence and be brought back for the combos. Dimension Shifter heavily stops that, and a lot of the Zodiac players are playing this, it seems, but it's also kind of against Zoo. While you can just set up a Trident and pass, it stops you from kind of comboing with Ram and going up into your Mega Clops or wherever you want to head. So Dimension Shifter is seeing a lot of play though, and good against both decks realistically in certain aspects. I do like this card for this specific format. It was bound to have its time. Do realize though you have to pretty much open with this. If you have no cards in your graveyard, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard until the end of the next turn. Any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. So against Fire Warrior, you better be activating this before they do something like Aqua Dolphin and hit something else out of your hand, and then you can't even play this. Be aware of the surroundings, be aware of how you have to activate this, and that's why people go for 3. You max out on it, so you see it in your opening hand. Good luck with that, as you commonly draw Nibiru as the 6th card. That'll be happening with this too, but still, it's a good card for this format no matter how I feel about it. Nibiru has also gone down in price with its gold reprint. Dark Ruler no more, barely down in price at all, even with the common guaranteed in a structure deck from the Charmer structure deck. So it also could be a little bit of value displacement along with people wanting to grab playsets of this. Well, this is down, the sealed product is only up, and there's another guaranteed promo that's being played in playsets that people like. Yep, but it's also relevant is why it's headed up, but it may head up faster because of that value displacement. A USA, the Earth Charmer Immovable, has had rolling buyouts. We saw this. You see the market price at 4. The market price was in the 3s last night. This has had multiple rolling buyouts since the Charmer structure deck came, and they've all been super quick. So vendors tried to relist this at 3s and 4s, and those actually sold out. So whatever's happening here, people are just moving on this so fast. If you have a specific reason you think it is besides the Charmer structure deck, let me know in the comment section down below, because while it's a good generic Earth link, I think it has to do with the Charmer structure deck being here, and often we get shocked with buyouts that happen when a structure deck is released. So many people get things in hand and they start to pick out the other pieces. I don't think that this iGas rare is really worth its price here, and you see sellers with multiple quantities now ready. They're like, oh yeah, I've got 16 of these that I didn't even care about, but now I care about them more, and they're going up in price. But it's not just her, it's multiple other Charmers. The super rare Hida is running out, even though it's around the market price. There's not the most amount of listers with this card. You see there's only 3 pages, and that's pretty common with OTS supers, and you see it quickly is $5 here on the front page. Area is up versus market price. This has had its hype before as an out to the Gizmek Fox water statue combo that was actually really hilarious to watch. Thanks to Simo Mono Blutron for commentating that one. But you see our market price is back down to around the $1. Lowest listed is $1.69. She is $2 quickly on the front page. I want to talk a bit about Phantom Rage now, moving on from the Charmers a bit, and how it has cooled off in price. Zeus is now a $45 card, and people are asking, when do I buy my Phantom Rage singles? Well, you buy them when you're either going to play in tournaments or you know, remote duels, which is also playing in tournaments. That's when you buy the cards. Oh, Zeus could spike, it's gonna go crazy. Well, usually our market heats up in February or March on the road to the WCQ, the road to nationals, right? We don't have that this year. As far as we're aware of, we don't have a huge announcement from Konami, so there's not this ramp up of, oh, I gotta get my invite, all right, it's time to finally play in regionals, okay, the format for nationals is here, I'm going to buy my deck. So usually we see a huge cool off here in December, all the way through January. February, it starts to heat up real big. March is the max sales. And as a vendor, when I used to actually go and buy and sell cards for 8 years of my life, those were the best eating months. So with that, we don't have that ramp up this year. It may try to pseudo copy its trends from before as we get into new sets and people grab older sets and quantities run out. It may try to copy elements of it, but we don't have the driving force between like the pieces that is the usual market spike and people rushing for the cards. We don't have that. And so with us heading towards the wall of prices falling down and then people, okay, well, I want to get this, but I want to get it before it spikes. You're still racing the megatons. You're still, that's all the way, I know, next fall. But what IRL tournaments and what tournament season is going to happen to stop that? I don't think Konami's going to make like an online league. I don't think they're going to make an online WCQ. We could be surprised. But right now, there's not a reason to be grabbing like there usually would be. I would maybe even chill out here despite the prices being so good. And yes, it'll probably spike. Maybe you could make money off it. But if you're not playing in tournaments, you don't need to be rushing for this card now, do you? Now, if you are, you're playing in remote duels, you're trying to win giant Apoloses, you're trying to go for those kinds of tournaments, then yes, go ahead and buy now. These are absolutely bottom out prices that are amazing on a lot of these cards, and I would consider them. So you have two different lives to live. I know you might want your shiny cardboard and are scared of overpaying versus a timeline, but your timeline also has to include where you're going to be playing in your tournaments. Also, speaking of, you know, good old Phantom Knights of Tornscale, well, almost the same price as the Super here, being the lowest, still at $22 for an Italian, non-English on market now, and a French over here at $20. So there's two play sets of those. Crazy to me how this card is just going up in price. Now, generalized conversation, I was watching Pluto TV now has a completely free Yu-Gi-Oh channel. It will have the Brains dub available for the USA. If you don't know what Pluto is, it's free to watch TV. It's by the CBS network. This is not sponsored at all. I'm just enjoying it as a casual fan. They have a complete dedicated Yu-Gi-Oh channel now, and I was watching GX and I saw that first episode with Winking Kuriii. I remembered it's a game promo, and I was like, you know what? I better get a playset of Winking Kuriii in case I don't have them in my closet sooner than later. The price will probably spike. I saw the market price at $8. I was like, yeah, I expected them to be around $10. Nope, they're gone. Similar people have similar thoughts, and pretty sad. There's tons of moderate plays. You even get into light plays. Near mint with blemish. So, light play, but near mint, huh? At 22, and then he says really near mint ships immediately at 26 as the only copy on the TCG player market. So this card has been going. It's a card that I thought, well, you know, it's that special moment. Then you have the Duelist League versions. The Duelist League versions with the red rare, blue rare, all those different rares, they're also selling out and going on. So it also led me to this conversation of GX investing versus DM investing and stream, and how ultimate rares are so integral towards GX investing, and how after the first 4 boxes you do get kind of wonkier values, but you get a better estimated value pull out of GX boxes that could rise them. It's a huge conversation we had on stream, but all of that from a Winking Kuriii. Yeah, if you have these, the collectibles are going up, and even crazier for other ones that I wish I had built my collection on. PCY lowest 55. Man, I could have bought those at 5 and had a thick collection. Kuriii is one of those cards, similar to what we're about to talk about. People like to build pages of collections for the multiply anime effect. Well, people want full pages or play sets of Blue Eyes. This is still around 25. Dark Magician falling to about 13 from 15. Maxim had a really good conversation about these that I enjoyed. I do want to say, though, I think when it comes to the sales rate, it's not a couple of deep interested pockets running after these. We can see from actual sales rates from sponsors and also Robbie Cole and other vendors that it's a ton of individuals that rushed after this initially, but after that initial rush, so much of the set was going to be open, even at a half print for Blue Eyes and Dark Magician, that there was going to be a bit of a cool off, and we see that competition still trying to hold around 24 to 25, but the price points versus 30, that's looking a lot nicer. And the rest of the set, falling out oh so beautifully. Harpy's Feather Dust around $6 with so many listings. The Red Eye's cheaper than pretty much anyone anticipated, as everyone dives after these since they're half printed in the set. And then I see Apollosa selling for way more than what this lowest listing is in the EU. I think it's around 650 euros or something when I looked on Card Market the other day. I don't know if that's fluctuated, but I see that it's one of the top sellers on their front page, and yeah, it seems cheaper over here for this card. Now, getting back to generalized conversations, Wing Dragon and Raw Ghost Rare continues to go down for quote-unquote near mint listings, but getting ahead of myself there in words, we can see that when people are listing, they're just in conditions that you're not going to want. Look at all these scratches out of sleeve. Oh, it's so awful. So people don't want to order a near mint online and it show up like this. They want it nice and perfect and glossy and minimal things happening to it, but they're getting ones like this when they're listed near mint, and that's not what they want, even if TCG Player System would consider that near mint, so they want to buy them in person. If you can get clean copies of this, I definitely still am giving the same advice of hold. I've been asked that so many times this last week. What do you think, and do I keep until other God cards come out? Well, you do also have opportunity cost of how could your money continue to perform for you versus just sitting there. But if you have a super clean copy of this, my advice remains, keep. Once they make Slifer and Obelisk, demand will go for this. People will rush it, the ones that are even near mint copies online, in panics, and I think you will see this card go up a lot once those are announced. But till then, continue to try to get the cleanest copies that you can. Over on YBM, they have several products that I wanted to talk about upcoming within these generalized conversations. Blazing Vortex really does not feel like a great core set to overinvest in. There will be Black Friday sales for multiple places, and there is still that unknown X factor of, I believe it's 19 TCG exclusives. So many times TCG exclusives break or make the set, but lately they just haven't been breaking the set lately. When it comes to those releases, they underperform. They're just not quite complete. They don't seem to be doing it. So you're in a huge gamble versus just that new pot card that's so good, and whatever they may import into here as the Starlight and then those 19 other TCG exclusives. It's a pretty big gamble. So when Black Friday, you see the shock value of boxes still weigh that of, well, okay, Black Friday sale versus, okay, my money could be spent elsewhere here, but the exclusives could be anything. Do weigh your risk versus what's already presented in the set, because we're gonna feel it more than ever. We're under those new ratios. You're not pulling extra secret rares. You're getting 2 secret rares per box, yeah? And that means 24 per case, but now to get a playset of all the secrets at 10 secrets, that's 30. We're gonna really feel those new ratios in this set. And I think after the bad taste Phantom Rage is leaving in people's mouth for being a good core set but having to undercut each other and it bottom out, and they're still going to be hurting from other card releases and trying to make those sales, Blazing Vortex is going to be a weird mix of perhaps underordered, and if it turns out to be a banger, really, really good, or it's just going to really underperform. And man, I hate when it comes down to exclusives. I really hate when it comes down to those. Genesis Impact is also coming. It got delayed. The sale says 12/04, but this got pushed back to the 18th. Big note. So a couple of extra weeks. We don't know what those collector rares are. I hope Konami got some wiggle room to put some bangers in here. I really feel like there's a mix of people overhyping and then underestimating these archetypes. I think they're going to meet somewhere in the middle. I'm personally of the kind of mindset that they're going to underperform, though the Evil Twin engine is super interesting. Drytron's really cool. Magistus even kind of getting overlooked a lot, but I feel like there's a reason they're getting overlooked like that. And then the other people who say, oh, they're overlooked, they're so good, they're gonna take over. I don't know about takeovers either, but remember Secret Slayers, people heavily underestimated those cards. I just don't think this is in the same league as Secret Slayers, but we will see how they perform. It's more on the collector rares for first edition collector rares on how this is going to turn out. I don't think Konami is going to unlimit collector rares again. Let me know what you think of these. Of course, if you're shopping YBM, you can use code WhatsGood5 to support the channel and get 5% off, but I would hold until Black Friday sales. And finally, a little bit of a penny stunk. Number 75, the secret rare, is still heavily up there. Toon Chaos's first edition supers are still relatively cheap for a number card, around 50 cents, and it doesn't go past $1 on the front page. So many of these. I think this is a pretty good penny stock to have, as number monsters go in and out and in and out of relevancy. This is a great card overall, and I shouldn't be underestimated. It'll probably become part of something degenerate again in the future. I really like this card, and the super rare I think is a great penny stock. I actually found this because what was it, my buddy Trent told me to go look up Psyframe Driver, and the ultras are around $2.50, which is market price. I remember this being oh so cheaper and telling people to get it as a penny stock. So the very cheapest $2, and it's quickly $2.50 throughout the front page, but still a good amount of quantities. This card's interesting because Gamma is more relevant than ever right now, and it's continuing to stay relevant, and people want to hollow out their decks. So this ultra rare that should have had a higher pull rate is now years old, and it's definitely gone up over time very well as part of that engine. But that's how I ended up finding about Gossip Shadow. Thank you, Trent. That being said, please, if you enjoyed this market watch, subscribe. We've been really climbing some subscribers the past couple of weeks, and I appreciate it so much. Like the video if you enjoy the conversation. Sorry for tripping over myself a bit during this. I do that when I get excited, and also when I have multiple trains of thought going on, and there were a lot of conversations to be had in this market watch. And thanks if you watched through everything. I really do appreciate you. I know this one ran long.